In this week's Minute with Drexel, News 5's Drexel Gilbert is thinking about the kitchen table. It's not just a place where we can share a meal. Drexel says it's also a place where you can make your life and other lives richer just by telling stories. Here's this week's Minute with Drexel.
Hey y'all, well by now you all know that I love to read, and this week I picked up a book that I can't put down. It's called Kitchen Table Wisdom. I've had it for a couple of years, but it's been sitting in my bookcase. This week I just randomly pulled it off the shelf and began reading it. It's essentially a collection of stories. Well, that caught my attention because that's pretty much what I've been doing with you for the last 40 plus years. Yeah, it's been that long. I've been telling you stories of people's joys and hopes and aspirations, of their challenges, their disappointments, and sometimes what they see as their failures, but always of their resilience to get back out and tackle life again. Well, in this book, the author recounts sitting around the kitchen table as a child and listening to her grandfather's stories. She talks about how that she learned a lot about her grandfather, but she also learned a lot about her own life and how his stories would eventually weave with her stories and life in a beautiful tapestry. You know, it seems like these days we are so glued to the TV screen or the cell phone screen that we're not doing a lot of sitting around the kitchen table and telling stories, and that makes me sad. I think that it's so important for us to have that oral history. I remember sitting around the kitchen table with my own grandparents and parents and learning so much about life and about them as they told stories of things that they had done and been through. And just most recently, I was sitting around the kitchen table with my own mother and my grown daughters, and she was telling them stories about her life. And you could just see the excitement as they learned more and more about their grandmother and thinking things like, wow, Grammy did all that? Interesting. This week, I would like to challenge all of us to spend at least 1 hour this week around a kitchen table, sitting on the porch, in front of a fireplace, on the beach. It doesn't matter. Anywhere you can gather with your friends or families and tell stories. You have stories to tell, but there are also stories you need to listen to. You never know when a story you tell or a story you hear might make a huge difference in your life or in the life of someone that's coming up behind you. Hey, what's your story? I'd love to hear it. Why don't you send me a message? We'll talk. And that's your Minute with Drexel.